Dav, that must have been a frustrating day on the water for you. Day 2 at the Grand Prix Guyader here in Douarnenez, and no racing. Tell us a little bit about what's been going on and who have you with us today?
Well, it was a shame today because the sun was out and the weather forecast was for light winds, but you always live in hope. And the race officer postponed this morning because we could never have started at 11:30, and the AP came down about 1:30. I think it was wishful thinking on his part, but the thing is, had he not got all the boats out there, we would never have had a chance to start should a breeze come in at 3 o'clock. So he did the right thing, but unfortunately we got out there and there wasn't enough wind to start a race. It was very light, and on the northern shores, or the other side of the bay, west side of the bay, you could see the real large boats that here competing, and they were flat, stopped, becalmed. So there was no wind coming from anywhere, and he decided about 4:30 to call it a day. However, I have on my right here two of my good friends, two jovial gentlemen. I have Peter Colby from Lowestoft on my far right, and Ron James here.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, chaps.
Hi.
Now, I'm going to say, Ron, I see you here year after year. What really attracts you to Douarnenez?
Well, we've been here every year from the first one. We haven't missed one. And the reason we come back every year is because the race organisation on the water is so good year after year after year. They keep that standard up. And for me, that's the most important thing about a regatta. And if that is not enough, then their shoreside activities are equally good.
Yeah.
So there's nothing to fault it, except the weather doesn't always cooperate. But given that over the years, I think they claim they've got 95% of races in, sooner or later they were destined to have a bad week, because it happens to everybody.
Yeah, and of course after we got beaten up over the weekend with the strong winds, we were all hoping for a little bit less pressure this week, but
Especially
of course
me.
but of course no wind is nobody's liking.
Nope.
And we came in, they had the sardines going over there and the music's going and playing, which you'll see a bit more of later. Peter, now I know you have a house over here as well, don't you?
I do. I first came here in 1981. It hasn't changed much. I came for the Gold Cup. It was superb then, and it's superb now. The whole place has got a buzz, and it works. There were 100 boats at the Gold Cup. There were about 80 this time, and people are so keen. It's a good crowd, multinational crowd, and it is wonderful. The hospitality, as Ron says, is excellent. The camaraderie is wonderful, and the beer is good as well.
And tell me, racing with 80 boats, do you enjoy that rather than a smaller fleet?
Yes, I do, because it's something unique. These guys here, some of them are the best sailors in the Dragon class in the whole of the world. And yes, they go fast, but occasionally it's nice to go with them for a short time. But it's good because you learn an awful lot. 80 boats going into a mark is something to be experienced. Hopefully you experience at the front, but it's nice to see them from the back as well.
And tell me, Peter, your home club is Lowestoft.
Yes.
On the east coast of England. Why have the dragons died there?
Why have they died? It's a long story. But basically, people can be inhibited by they think that sailing dragons is expensive. It needn't be. We have Abersock has resurrected their club, and they've done that by having a cost figure put on the dragon, a cap. So you can only buy a dragon, for example, £15,000, and you can replace the sails, I believe, every 2 years. It brings the cost of sailing down, and they have been extremely. We should have done it at Lowestoft. Unfortunately, we didn't. But what we do need, what all the Dragon class needs, is new blood. It's an exciting class. It's a competitive class. It's a wonderful class, and we need to bring people in. We need to tell them the story about our class, which is great.
And how do you think the BDA could go about doing that, Ron? What sort of some of the ideas you put forward?
I think one of the most important things we need to do is to somehow or other get a new Dragon fleet on the south coast.
Right.
One of the problems with sailing in the UK is that where the fleets are strong, the sailing waters are nothing like as good as Douarnenez Bay. We're basically sailing a lot of the time in mud ditches. And if we could just get a club going somewhere on the south coast,
Yeah.
which has a bigger population catchment area than Abersoch.
Yes.
Abersoch's a fine sailing area,
Yes.
but it's a long way from London.
For sure. I mean, I've been to Abersoch, as most of us did last year for the Edinburgh Cup, and they laid on a fantastic show there. And as Peter said, this cap idea of saying what a limit on what you can spend on the boat is an excellent idea. So, and with the Worlds in Weymouth, I mean, do you think that's going to entice more people from the GB to GBR to sail dragons or not?
In my view, what we're not interested in is top Etchell sailors, top J80 sailors or whatever, buying a dragon for the year, trying to compete in the Worlds and then never seeing them again.
Sure, okay.
That doesn't help us
too
at
short
all.
term, yeah.
And I don't think they can do that because of the qualification process. They need to be doing it now. So
Okay.
we're not going to suffer from that.
No, right.
Ron, can you just clarify for us what that qualification process is for the Worlds for next year, for those that don't know?
Well, I think the UK has 11 places normally speaking, but gets an extra 50% as the host. So let's say we've got about 16, 17 places, something like that. And there are a series of area regattas and this year's national championship, the Edinburgh Cup, and you get points for those, and the top 18 or 19 people who want to go will be able to go.
And other countries will be running similar
But
selection
they will
processes
in most
regattas.
countries, yes.
Yeah.
Great.
Well, it's great to see you guys, and it's a pity we didn't race today, but I think some of us are on the Prince's boat this evening for a little glass of champagne, the Prince of Denmark's boat. And tomorrow, I know there's 2 races scheduled, but if we have Breeze, he'll do his utmost to race 3. And I guess we could still have 2 races on the final day.
We could do
Yes,
it.
we've done it
if it's-
before.
Yeah, so
No
we
problem
could
at all.
end up with another 5 races, which would give a 6 race series. So all we can do is fingers crossed and hope for the best.
Thanks, guys. Well,
Thank you,
let's hope for
Anthony.
racing tomorrow.
Thank
Thanks
you.
a lot.
Thank
Thank you,
Bye,
gentlemen.
bye, bye.
Bye-bye.
Il y a les gros bateaux qui viennent, donc faut regarder. Avec les doigts. Allez, hop.